Uh, you know what subject we are going to deal today? What is that? Paper number 9. Oh, good. What is it? Operations management. And what else you said? Only operations management? Oh, good. Operations management and strategic management. Okay. But I have a big doubt. Why don't you smile? Does it cost anything? Yeah, you can smile. I know it's very difficult, but try. Yeah, get in. Yeah. Because the session is not going to be so serious. You need not to worry. Even by smiling, you can learn, right? That activates your thought process. It makes to learn easily, right? Let me tell you, the subject is very easy. I don't know, people might have given a very big picture, but let me tell you honestly, it is very easy. But, in most of this advertisement, they put a star mark. What does it mean? Conditions apply. What are those conditions? You need to just attend regularly. That's it. And see what happens, I'll tell you. Today, let me just give motivation for 10 or 15 minutes, then we'll kickstart. I know it is very difficult to wake up on Sunday because I experience still at age of 46 also, I still feel unless until my alarm wakes me up, I'll not wake up. So that's the trend. People say you do it continuously and you get habituated, but I don't know. All these years I tried, apply, there was no reply. So unless until it wakes me up, I don't wake up. Okay, let it go its pace. What we'll do is two things which I wanted you to do. That's it. They are very easy and very simple and they are in your domain. First thing, I said regular attendance. Okay? And you may ask a question, sir, how many days should we come? Both subjects together, I may take 30 sessions, 30 to 40 sessions, because again, batch to batch, it keeps on changing. Last 25 years I've been teaching this subject. There has been sea changes in the subject. Earlier, the book size was of my size, very bulky. Now, slowly it got shrinked. And 2016 was much leaner. But again, somewhere they realized again they increased the number of pages. And you know what will happen? By the time the size gets shrink, they'll change the syllabus again. Okay? Need not to worry. And like we have seen in and out of this subject now. And over a period of time, we have got really some shortcuts techniques where it was like a fun, more like a fun, right? So if you attend regularly 30 to 40 hours, let me tell you, 30 to 40 hours are not means only 1 hour sessions, classes, right? Today, like we count it as one class. Of course, it's a big class today till 12:30. So we count it as one session. So 30 to 40 sessions if you are with me. Now again a question arises. Physically or mentally? Physically 100%. Sometime you can take a nap. Mentally some 50%. Right? So that's a prerequisite. Why is this required? Because what will happen, students? Daily we'll be talking about content. Even if this content gets into your head, you know what topic comes in what unit. 50% of your preparation is done. Let me tell you honestly. Maybe I don't know how the different teachers have approached to your subject. Let me tell you, the subject is very simple, very easy. See, the moment I say, like whenever you're eating something, students, will you eat a dish which is not tasty? Where you already have reservations that it is going to be salty, it is going to be spicy. Will you take that dish? For obligation, if you take, you will take only little for social satisfaction. Others should not feel. So even they are serving, you will say, no, I want only little. Because the way you look at it, it looks ugly, right? But let me tell you, this is very tasty dish. The moment I say, yeah, it is tasty, what will you do? You will fill up your plate. That's an intention. The other way around also, I know you're all very smart students, easily you will crack. First thing I wanted attendance. Make that habit building of attending the class regularly. Let me tell you, on an average, you get 2 to 3 marks in each class. 2 to 3 class approximately. So our target now, out of 100, I know you'll not get 100 out of 100. Even if I write, I'll not get 100 out of 100, right? So the maximum strike rate, what the students at Ships Academy have strike is 88. 88 out of 100 itself is a big, and you'll get onto that picture, you know. You'd have seen the board with lot of pictures. So Prasad will put you onto the board, onto the posters. You get a lot of promotion, right? Conditions apply again. You should break this record. Okay? So maybe just a figure only. Now you have shaken your head. But once we go on to breaking this record, little further efforts are required, right? So what we'll do, first I said you attend regularly, I'll make you through. I'll make you, that is my concern. Second, what is required when we are learning this subject, maybe there are many mistakes in the material which you have to correct, right? So like there are people who study on their own and also crack. Then you may ask a question, sir, why are we wasting our money and wasting our time by coming here? Because here we teach you the shortcut methods. Shortcut methods, and we'll tell you what to read and what not to read. Okay? So that is where most of us go to coachings. Understood? So our methodology, what I'll do or what I have been doing all these years is, maybe I'll not go from study note number 1, study note number 2, 3, 4. I'll not go in an order. Why? I have some sense in that nonsense. Why I don't go in an order karke. You would have seen by now the weightages which are given to each unit. Have you? No? See, first of all, in operations management, how many study notes do you have, students? 1 to 7. How much weightage? 60% weightage. How are they divided? Earlier it was all equal importance, but now the weightages are different. Study note number 4 has 20% weightage, right? Study note number 6 has 15% weightage, right? And remaining and all not great, 5% each. But you know, students, there is a lot of injustice which is being done. Even if you flip your textbook, study note number 4 has more number of pages, right? See, lot of partiality. The fellow has given only 20% weightage. And the good speciality of this study note number 4 for last 15 years, I am telling you, I don't know, that fellow, either he might be very fussy on that unit, or I don't know, whether he doesn't like that unit 4, study note number 4, I don't know. Every time he'll add lot of bulky material in study note number 4 only. That is my observation. I don't know whether I have learned the concept or not, but this sort of analysis I'm very good at. So the speciality of this is, I start soon after introduction, I start study note number 4. That will continue till we complete the syllabus. So you will have so many topics in it. And what has been my methodology of teaching is, maybe you need to be smart enough in cracking marks. Marks is our major objective. So what I'll do, first class, 1 hour or so I teach introduction. Study note number 1, I can do it in half an hour only, not more than that. So study note number 1 can be done in very short time. 2 also in short time. Like that, 5 also in very short time, 3 not media core, but major time taking is 4, 6 and 7. And Study note number 2 will have lot many topics and tougher topics. Study note number 7 also. There it will take lot of time. So what I have been doing all these years is all tough topics, the topics which gain us good marks, right? I cover them in initial days. Any guesses why do I do that? Why? You can tell me. Yeah. Why do I do that? Yes. In the initial days, student will have lot of enthusiasm. Like just recall the day when you first registered for first group. You'll get all that material. You'll have lot of motivation. What you do? 24/7, you look at the books, you open it, you close it. And students, over a period of time, what will happen? It is like inverted triangle. The time what you spend will be like inverted triangle. So here if you are spending at least 10 hours, not even 10 seconds after that. You leave it in the cupboard, you don't even dust it, that is the trend. That's a normal tendency. So how you should go about? We should cash on the areas where the fellows are enthusiastic. So cover all tough topics, not only in my subject, every subject you should do that only. Cover all tough topics, the topics which give you good marks. And as she rightly said, she is also correct. You get enough time for revision, re-revision, all that. And all small topics like, demand forecasting, somewhere you would have heard about. Small, easy topics, less marks or probability, may come or may not come. All such questions will cover at flag end. What will happen, Will not waste time, will go in a structured manner. Only this strategic management, because it's a wildcard entry, there I have to go in an order. Strategic management, I'll go in an order. By the way, strategic management this time has how many units? 4. So 4 units. Sometime study notes and units I'll be using synonymously, don't worry. Study note or unit is one and the same. Okay. So 4 study notes. What is the weightage for it, students? 40% weightage. Now let me tell you. In operations management, our lifeline was always the problems. Always was the problem. How we have covered, I'll tell you. How we were able to crack. And first of all, I have to tell you one very interesting thing, very important thing. People generally, to pass the exam, they put lot of efforts, right? But my subject is something special. You have to put lot of efforts to fail. Lot of efforts to fail. Why? The subject is like that. So, first and foremost thing, our strategy will target on problems first, which gets good marks. Because theory we can reduce marks, problems we cannot. So problems first, lifeline. Second, short questions. Easy marks. I have a tip for it and I have been very successful, 100% successful in that strategy. We'll adapt that strategy to you now. Problems, short questions. Third mantra for our success would be strategic management. Fourth, theory. This is how, maybe in last class again I'll revise and tell you, but this is how we go. Why I'll tell you? If you practice all the problems, they are very good, very interesting. Not like your mathematical and all, it is all decision making problems. You'll really enjoy it. Minimum 40% weightage they give for problems in the paper. Out of this 60%, again percentage wise they recalculate and all. So let us say, okay, 40 also let us not take, we'll go by distress value. You know what is meant by distress value? Least to least possible values. So let us assume 30 marks are there for your problems. Out of the 30, I'm pretty sure 30 to 40 classes if you are here, can I quote 20 marks? Minimum the student will get 20. Okay. Further, okay, 20 will quote. Okay. Then short questions, 10 marks minimum you will crack. Both strategic management and all. By default, when we are halfway through, you will understand, you will realize how confident you are. So 10 marks. Strategic management, you are not good in writing, you are not good in expressing, you are not good in this, that and all. So out of 40, I am giving 15 only. Okay. And by default, you will be very good in writing, filling up the papers. You have that art of doing it. So 10. So now count it how much it works out to 55. Again your bad luck. Somewhere your bad luck, your stars are not bright, your grahas are not good. I reduce another 10. 45. You tell me, how many marks should we get? 40. But still you are still with 5 surplus, right? So I said it is very difficult to fail in the subject. Very difficult to fail in the subject. But as I said, conditions apply. First, regular attendance. Second, group revision. This has really worked out very well with me. What is this? Group revision. I have a very bad habit of asking questions again. Why? That makes you perfect. Whether you learn subject or not, it's okay. But at least you should know which topic comes in what unit. So that you know that 50% of preparation is done. Let me tell you students, 50% of preparation will be done. Most of these fellows, they fail because they don't connect up. The moment you know, okay, what comes in where, immediately the concept of everyone will put efforts. Because when you have joined the course, when you have joined a coaching, 70% you are mentally prepared to crack the exam. And by default, it will become a regular affair. So you'll just go to it and everybody will put efforts. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Okay. So this is what some of the things what I thought I'll just tell you before we proceed further. Okay. Now what I'll do, let me go to the micro details. First and foremost thing, students, from tomorrow onwards, you can get your material, but you need not to carry its weight again. I have a copy. Prasad will have a copy here. If required, we'll refer. I wanted to have a separate notebook for my subject. Okay. Third requirement. I don't want any all-in-one. You know what is all-in-one? And no doubt, it is good because only one book you carry. But there will be a day, it will be very difficult to differentiate which subject does it mean karke. So I don't want any all-in-one. Separate notebook for my subject. One, even if it is 100 pages notebook or 200, for operations management you take 200, bulky book only. But strategic management can be a 100 pages notebook. The methodology what we follow is, we continue from left to right. Again, what I do is, I said we have adapted this strategy and it has really worked out well. The key points, abbreviations, important points, we note them down at the last. So again, all this 1 mark questions and all, we unit by unit again, we keep noting them from the back side. So what will happen, you know, all the important points, like in most of these books you see, they have a summary and they have a key points in that unit. You just read that key points every day before coming to the, or at least glance, or when the teacher doesn't come, you discuss, you ask the fellows again, what does it mean? Let them explain. That's all. I don't expect you to go back home, read, rehearse, nothing great will happen. By the time you go home, you'll get exhausted. So you have to do justice to watch TV, you have to do justice for eating, right? Playing. There are so many things you have to do justice to. I know. Significant amount of time you spend here. So you learn with heart. That's it. And before exam, anyhow, you'll study. So absolutely, I don't have any doubt there. Okay. And one more crazy requirement, what I wanted is, if possible, pencil, eraser, and color pens. Color pencils will do. color pencils is required. Only for operations management, not for strategic management. For problematic part, you may ask a question, why? I'll tell you the reason. You yourself will understand why I told you, right? Why? Because when there are any variations in the problem, there will be conditions where we strike off. Whenever we are striking it off, students, when you are recalling it or whenever you are reading it, you will not understand what is the question and what is the answer. And when you have striked off somewhere, you will not even see the numbers. So to avoid that, the color pens makes the problem more attractive and it will make us to understand better, right? The question arises, sir, can we use color pens in the final exam? No. 2 or 3 colors, okay, but not red and green, not red and green. You can use pens there or pencils with a light colored pencil, right? Unfortunately, I have been an examiner for all these years. Okay, so both CA and CMA been doing it. So some of this practical experience and practical problems what students mess out in the exam, I'll be sharing. You should not repeat it again, right? So that's a fund of entire concept of learning. Okay, so shall we start today? So did you get your notebook today? Yes or no? Yes. You can start. Today first we'll start with what is operations management. First, I'll not go directly to the subject because somewhere I have to tell you the basics, because it's all wildcard entry. You don't study what is management and straight away we teach you what is production management. It is something like you don't know A, B, C and straight away we start, we ask you to make words, sentences which will never happen. So first and foremost, students, let us start with this concept of knowing what is a business. Some of you in the foundation classes probably would have learnt, right? What is a business? Is anybody did their foundation from chapter office? Chapter office? CWA chapter office? No? None of you? Okay, right. Because unfortunately I thought there. So I thought some of them would be students. Okay. What is a business? Business is a state of being busy. What is business? It's a state of being busy. It could be for individual, one, or group. What is a group again? Collection of individuals is called as a group, right? Or organization. What is organization again? Organization is collection of groups and groups is a collection of individuals. Or society. What is society? Society is a collection of organizations. Organization is a collection of groups. Groups is a collection of individuals. So a state of being busy for individual, group, organization or a society. We call it as business. It is called as one's regular occupation, profession, entity, company or a corporation. You can define it with any of these words. Or a simple state being busy is of an individual or a group or an organization or a society. We call it as business. Now, after knowing what is the definition of a business, let us talk about elements of business. This actually comes in strategic management also. And there can be a question on this for 4 marks. What is a business? 1 mark. And what are the elements of business? Now students, the marking scheme also I'll share you, so that by the end of this session you'll understand what to write and what not to write, right? For which do you get mark, that also you'll understand, so that the quality of your answer will naturally increase. Now, what are the elements of business? The first element is resources. We call them as M's of management: process, output, environment and feedback. I know this will not get into your head now. Slowly, step by step, I'll explore what each one of them mean. First, let us go ahead with the first one, resources. Resources are basically called inputs. They are called as inputs, or we even call them as M's of management. What do they include? Why are they called as M's of management? Because every word which starts with M, men, that is manpower, raw material, money, minute means time, method means technique, machinery, matter, market. All these are the words which are starting with the word M. We call them as M's of management or resources of management. So every company, irrespective of whether it is a software company or a production unit, anything for its matter, they use what? Input. Or they use what? Resources. We try to manage these resources and produce what? Output. Output could be in the form of goods, or we call them as products, services, satisfaction, goodwill, experience, value, etc., etc., etc. All this we are producing it. We are using these resources and we are producing output. So input is one element, output is the other element. And the transformation, or you even call it as what? We use a word called conversion. Conversion of your inputs to output. We call it as what? Process. Conversion, or you can use a word called transform. What do you mean by transformation, students? Converting it from one form to the other form. Transformation. We use a word called process. Now the first element, what is process? If you have notebooks, start noting down the definition here. What is process? Process is a systematic. Okay, you have not noted down anything, no? Okay, first let us start from the beginning. First you write down this definition. What is a business? Then elements of business. Copy it as it is a state of being busy for an individual, group or society. Then elements of business. Elements of business include resources, M's of management, process, output, environment and feedback. No doubt we'll share this material, but again you should write here because that will be a repetition for you, right? Finished? Okay, shall we? Okay. Students, we are talking about production and operations management, right? So what is management? Maybe in my course of lecture, I'll tell you. As of now, management or business management, when we say, it is all those process of converting inputs to outputs. We call it as management. Okay. I'll give this definition a bit later. But first, let us go ahead with the word process. Process is, write down, is a systematic. Process is a systematic and sequential. You know, students, what is meant by sequential? Step by step. Systematic and sequential. Sequential, in the bracket you can write step by step. Way of doing things. Step by step way of doing things. So what are those step by step way of doing things now? Let us discuss. In your foundation class, probably teachers would have taught you this concept, but let me just quickly repeat. Process, management process has various steps. What is the first element of management process? What is the first element? Forecasting. What is forecasting, students? Predicting something well in advance. When you are talking about process, the first element of your management process is predicting something well in advance. Foreseeing, we call it as forecasting. After forecasting, it leads to planning. Good. What is planning again? This, you have to remember this word, listen carefully. Many times I'll be using this word. There's a small formula for defining planning. Planning is a process of looking ahead, right? It is also called as 5 W's and 1 H. 5 W's, what, where, when, why, who, and how. How. So what, where, when, why, who, and how, we call it as planning. Or simply, it's a process of trapping the future. It's a process of looking ahead. In some of these book, students, these two are combined together. Forecasting and planning are combined together. They say it is one of the same activity, because everything deals with visualizing something about future, trapping the future. But you know why I have differentiated? There is a difference between them. Forecasting is in general sense, but planning is in specific sense. When you are moving down from forecasting to planning, you are funneling down. Funneling down in the sense, you have seen funnel, broader, and finally it comes narrow down as you come. So planning is like that. You become more specific. Okay, assume that you want to start a business. First, you will forecast, right? Then you will plan. Then what will you do next? Organizing. As a part of execution, you need to organize. What is organizing? Just now I said resources, right? Men, material, machinery, all these resources, you should get them together. That process of pooling 2 or more resources together. The process of getting 2 or more resources together. We call it as what? Organizing. Okay, you have done that. What next, students? Staffing. What is staffing? Putting the right person in a right skills, in a right manner, at a right place. We call it as staffing. You know, students, these two also can be combined. Why? Because both deals with pooling up of resources only. Then why are we separating it out? Because organizing is in general sense, staffing is in specific sense. Why? Why extra importance? Why that partiality is given out of so many M's? Why this manpower is given more importance to? Because they have life. They are the one living being in it. All other are lifeless resources. You can pull it, push it in any manner. It doesn't cry, but it doesn't feel. But can I do with human like that? No, because human have life in them. So that is the reason. See, organizing, when I say pulling up of resources, it may include men, material, you don't know. It is in general sense. But when I say staffing, pulling up of only manpower resource. Have you understood? Okay. Assume that you wanted to start your business, you forecasted, you planned, you got the resources, you have recruited human resources also. What next? As you said earlier, coordinating. What is coordinating function, students? It is called as what function? Linking function. Now you will decide which resource who will use, who will report to whom. That linkages and tagging you do. That function is called as coordinating function. Once you do all this, what is next? Directing. Directing is also called as what function? Guiding function. When everything is ready, now you tell the people, okay, you do this, you do that, the directions, guidelines you will give. People will start working on it now. While they are working, there is one more function which you have to do. What is that? Any guesses? Yes, controlling. What is controlling? How do you define controlling? Why do you need to control? Good. Can you define controlling now? Why do controlling? Because people have, if you don't have expectations, there's no need of control system at all. Since people have expectations, what are expectations? How do you define expectations? What you want the things to be. What you want the things to be is expectation. You have actuals. What are actuals, students? How do you define actuals? What things are. What things are now. They are actuals. Expectations. What you want the things to be. You expect to get 80 marks is your expectation. Actuals are what you get. What you get are actuals. Expectations minus actuals will always lead to problems. Why? Why expectations minus actuals always lead to problem? Because if your expectations are greater than or less than actuals, always lead to problem. You expected 80 marks, but you got 20 marks. Expectations are greater than actuals. Don't you think it's a problem? Expectations are, you expected only 20, but you got 80. Now you may ask a question, sir, first case is a problem, I agreed. But second case, I expected only 20, I got 80. Why there should be a problem? Isn't it? The problem is not for you. There is a problem in the system. Why? The fellow has written only 1 mark and desperately somebody gives marks for 4 questions. Don't you think it's a problem? Yes. Expectations minus actuals will always lead to problem if. What are you trying to do? This minus, I'm adding one more line. Equal. Can you define what is controlling now? It's a process of equalizing expectations and actuals. Why do you control? You said monitoring and all. No. It is the process of equalizing your expectations and actuals. The moment you are able to equalize, you say things are under control. Have you understood? So here we would have expected lot many things. Whether things are happening or not, okay, that process include monitoring, correcting, all that is okay. But the actual definition of controlling is the process of equalizing your expectations and actuals. Students, there is one more element. Any guesses what is it? It is very, very important. That will be there in your punch line also, CMA punch line. Beyond every, yeah. CMA, there is a decision making. What is a decision? Judgment. What is decision making? Choosing one option among many options. Decision making is a process of choosing the best alternative among the pool. Pool means many alternatives. That process we call it as decision making. Why did I write it in the center? Any guesses? It's not for attraction. I have drawn like a circle. There is some sense in that nonsense. Can you tell me what is it? Excellent. Every element, it is written in the center because when you are eating a salt dish, hard dish, salt is very important. And sweet dish, sugar is important. Like that, any element, be it forecasting, planning, organizing, any of this element, 50% of it includes decision making. You want to plan. There are many plans you get, but you select only one plan. Organizing, also decision making. Controlling also is a decision. Like every element of management process, 50% of it includes decision making. Now, let me tell you one more thing. Why is it written in a circular manner? Management process is actually a continuous process. Take an example of a vehicle, two-wheeler or four-wheeler. If they want to go forward, what is required? The wheels have to rotate. Business is like that. Unless until your management process continues, business cannot go further. The first point we have learned that management process is a continuous process. And the element what you said is 100% valid. Each element is interdependent and interrelated with each other. Even if one is missing, the entire system will collapse. Right? Okay. Now, why did I teach you this? I'll tell you. Students, we may not, actually we are supposed to learn everything, but again there is something called as a syllabus which restricts us to study only what is required. In our second study note, we'll be talking about forecasting again. There again I'll define what is forecasting. Like we'll be talking about demand forecasting techniques. Planning, many times we'll be talking about material resources planning, manufacturing resources planning, capacity requirement planning, many plannings we talk about. There I'll talk. Organizing we don't study, staffing we don't study, linking, this we don't study. Of course, controlling we study. There are different types of controls we do. Planning may again we study about PPC, production planning and control, right? So planning and controlling, many times we talk about quality controls, production controls, many times we'll be talking. Decision making, throughout the subject we'll be talking only about decision making. Understood? Okay. These functions what I taught you now, they are called as what functions? Managerial functions. They are called as what? Okay. Students, first of all, can you tell me who is a manager? Who are managers? If you know the spelling, you'll know everything. You know that? No. I'll teach you how. The fellow who manages, don't write fellow in the exam, the person. The fellow who manages, what is our? Resources. Or risk also you can say. What is yes? Successfully, systematically, structurally, we call them as managers. Who are the managers now? The person who manages resources successfully, systematically, we call him as manager. The fellow who manages risk systematically, we call them as managers. So let me go to the topic now. When we are talking about management functions, there are two functions we talk. One is managerial function, that other is operational function. What are the managerial functions now? What are the functions now? Forecasting, planning, organizing, just see. They are called as what functions? Managerial functions. It starts with the word M, no? Remember this word, they are must functions. Why am I calling it as a must function, students? Irrespective of whatever type of company it is, still you need to forecast, still you need to plan. Without that, you just cannot do. It's a mandatory function, must function. Operational function, what are the operational functions? These are the various functional departments. HR department, marketing department, production, operations, IT, supply chain, etc., etc. They are all operational. And they are OO, operational, optional. Why did I say this word, students? Why did I say they are optional functions? Every business need to have HR, marketing, finance and all. Why am I calling it as optional functions? Because their presence and absence purely depends upon the type of product what you are making, the size of the organization. In that company, hardly there are 4 fellows. You cannot say one will become HR, one will become marketing, one will become accounts. Your business is very small business. Can you have all the setup of HR, marketing, finance there? No. So, optional. Why it is optional? Because their presence and absence clearly talks about the business, type of business what you are dealing with. It's an educational institution. You may not have a marketing, HR, all this setup, right? So, type of product what you are dealing with, the type of service what you are dealing with, the scale of operations, number of employees. There are many such factors which decide the presence and absence of operational functions. So, we call it as what function? Optional function. So, all these basics you are through now. Can we start now? Yes. Students, I think now you will connect up well. What is, like what we are trying to do in operational function, our focus is only will be talking about these two elements now. Because we are not studying HR subject, marketing subject, we are studying only production and operations management. More specifically operations only. In one of the class I'll tell you what is production and operations also. But as of now, production and operations in together will be talking about in this subject. Okay. First of all, let us try to understand what do they mean. Production and operations management is a set of activity which deal with producing of products and services. What is production and operations management, students? Operations management is that part of organization that is responsible for producing goods and services, or the management which is concerned with designing and operations of a system for manufacturing, transport, supply and service. This is the best definition because the four principles are being included here. What are they? I'll tell you now. See, when we are talking about production, producing the goods, which talks about your manufacturing of the goods. More specifically, it talks about tangible products, production, operations. This production function becomes one set of your operations management. Operations ante starting till end, all those series of activities we call it as operations. In that operations, producing would be one element. Understood? So why do we call it as production and operations management? Because both of them they deal with producing of goods and services. So in this process, we talk about something called as operating system. What is operating system now? Students, this from here onwards everything is important. Okay. What is operating system? In this computer there is something called as a OS, operating system. Generally you define it as heart, brain, soul of computer you say. Why? What does operating system in this system will do? It makes it functional. It makes them to work. Similarly, there is something called as operating system in operations management. What is it? It talks about configuration of resources which are combined together to help or to assist in producing goods and services. Configuring, channelizing or making them in an order. Configuration of resources. Why? To meet your production objectives. We call it as operating system. There are four principles you have it in this: manufacturing, transportation, supply and service. What are they? Let us try to understand. When we are talking about production and operations, students, here it is the activity which is concerned with manufacturing. Manufacturing means producing, right? Making a goods, which generally include changing in the form utility. From input you are making output. Transport, place utility. You are shifting from one place to the other place. What are you shifting? Somewhere the raw material you get from your supplier to company. After making the output, you have to give it to dealer, distributor. So there is what? Change in the place utility. Then supply, possession utility. If it is with you, you are the owner. If somebody has, somebody possesses, they are the owner for it. Supply, service, it's a state utility, right? So there are four different words which I am using here: manufacturing, transport, supply and service. So see this definition here, the second definition: management which is concerned with designing and operation system for manufacturing, transport, supply and service. We call it as operations management. Students, here there will be a question in the exam for 4 marks again. What is OM? What are the objectives of OM? 2 things you remember, only 2 words. One is obtaining the demand, the other is serving the demand. Operations management main objective is obtaining the demand, getting the demand from the customer, and once I get the demand, I should serve them better. So in this process of obtaining the demand and serving demand, our major focus is on customer satisfaction, customer service and customer satisfaction, and the other is resources utilization, because we are using this M's of management, right? I'm using a word called optimization here. This word you should understand. What is optimization? Maximum utilization of available resources. The resources which are of scarcity, we have to use them well. Or in a layman's language, optimization is all about using less resource and producing more resources, more value. Useless, not that useless, using less, producing more. We call it as optimization. This optimization has 2 techniques. One is maximize, the other is minimize. In the next class, I will tell you what is that, because first I need to teach this, then only we can start problems. As of now, optimization is all about using less and producing more value. So these 2 are very conflicting, because balancing them, how should I satisfy and how should I optimize? It is like 2 fellows are pulling me, one from right side and the other fellow from left side. Whomsoever is stronger enough, I will get inclined towards that. But what is required, balancing them, is really challenging task. So that is where meeting the objectives of OM has really been a tough job today. First of all, let us target on the long question in this subject. You know, students, let me give a lot of motivation here. There will be a long question in the exam. What is OM? Briefly explain the scope of operations management. Let me tell you, you need not to study this topic. Why? In the beginning of my class, I said, at least you should know what content you have in your subject, right? All the words which are there in your content are here now. Very good, no? At least if you read your index, you get one long question. Very interesting. What is the scope of operations management? Here, see, in our production department or operation department, what are all the different activities we do? For example, the first and foremost thing, the main job for us would be, where should my I said production operations generally deal with producing of goods. So first of all, it deals with where should be my factory? Should be in the city or outside of the city. We call it as plant location, or we say facility location also you can use. What does that decisions talk about? What does plant location decision talk about? Where your factory should be. There it is one topic. It tell you how to choose a location. You have chosen the location. Next it is construction of plant. Plant layout. How should the plant be? How the building should be? Where should be the restrooms? Where should be the staff rooms? Where should be the production unit? How the products will flow? How the raw material will flow? How the output will flow? What is exit point? Entry point? Where the toilet should be? What are all this? Plant layout, or we call it as facility layout. It is like structural engineering. What that fellow gives you a blueprint, no? He'll tell you how many floors, which room is what side, what direction. That is called as plant layout. So students, first we should know location, we should know plant. Then design specification. The design specification talks about your product design. How the product should be, how the process should be, all that design. Design is one very interesting and important topic. Design thinking. Maybe in your advanced groups, may we have this subject. Okay, design thinking. Then, after constructing, I should see how much capacity can I make in this factory. Capacity requirement planning, capacity planning. To start my production, I need what? Material. Material requirement planning. Material, what resources are required? Material resources planning. MRP 1 and MRP 2. Then, I need to take some decisions about machinery. How many machines should I get? Once you get the machines, the problem is that machines has a tendency of getting obsolete the day you buy, immediately the life ends. Because the countdown will start for it. Normally you would have seen we have something called as a depreciation value. Then the machines can fail, the machines can get outdated, and whenever there's a problem you need to rectify it. So corrections, erections. So there is a unit called Unit 7, Economies of Maintenance. It talks about when to replace, how to replace, and what is an optimal period for replacement. Right? So material management, the machinery management. This material management generally talks about raw material. Material handling talks about their usage. So we have covered location, capacity, design, process, plant layout and resources. This one. Then design of work also is done. The next one is production planning and control, which talks about when to produce, what to produce, how much to produce. The PPC generally talks about it. Then, once after producing or before producing also, we are dealing with raw material. So there is a stock of raw material. Once in production again, semi-processed goods, they also stocked sometime. Once the product is made as an output, again they are being stocked somewhere. The stocking of it, we call it as inventory. What is inventory now? Inventory is a stock. Stock of what? There are 4 categories of inventory we talk. Stocking of raw material, stocking of work in progress, semi-processed goods, stock of finished goods, MRO. Like here, when we are talking about MRO, what does it mean? You will be using certain material for repairing, overhaul and all. What does it mean? There will be certain stockage of your nuts, bolts, small supplements which are required, because even that is required. Like for example, there are so many tube lights which are glowing. So Prasad will have a stock of some of them. Or we are using this mics, no, he'll have a batteries. Why? The flow should not break. So even stocking of those material for repairing and overhaul also is a part of it. So there are 4 types of inventory we talk. So that subject we call it as inventory management, right? So is it included? Okay, inventory, first word only, inventory. And very interestingly, in our total part, our study note number 5 talks about it. There should be a quality in everything. Quality in your raw material, quality in processing, quality in output. So quality management or quality controls. Then we have transportation, assignment, project management. All this becomes a part and partial of it. Remuneration design and all, you don't have any topic, so you can skip that word. But otherwise, the crux of the index of whatever you have in your syllabus, even if you list about each one of them, and here I am telling you, each one is a topic for us now. So, in that, whatever you have done, it will be very difficult to summarize in a paragraph. That we have to do it technically. That by default you will get while doing, it's all Greek and Latin now, but once you get habituated of doing it, it's very simple. Like there are about like 6-7 students in the class now. First day when you came, you asked the friend's name. You may remember or you may not remember partially. But daily what will happen? While talking, it gets habituated, the name will get registered in your mind now. So here also it is like that. So simultaneously we'll be, learning and we'll be rehearsing ourselves. So absolutely no problem. For scope of operations management, as of now, we'll not put any efforts. We'll put only efforts to understand the topics index. That is more than enough. Right. So after defining the scope, you find lot of significant changes in the operations from good olden days to now. The work has changed now. The process also got changed. Earlier, the focus was on project, but today it's based on the customer. Customer and his satisfaction is main. So, customer centricity. What do you mean by customer centrism? Everything revolves around customer satisfaction only. How you do, what you do is all immaterial. Whatever customer wants, that is more important. We call it as customer centrism. Profit centrism, do or die. But profit I want. Profit centrism. But here, it is revolving around customer. Customer centricity means what? Giving more importance to customer in our business. Earlier it was output oriented, but today we talk about performance orientation. Earlier the businesses were only confined to a particular jurisdiction, but today it is confined to whole system. Earlier people were emphasizing on historical, previous information, but today people talk about real-time information. Earlier the approach was reactive, but today it is proactive. What is reactive, proactive? In my next coming sessions I'll tell you. And earlier also when people were working in factories and all, they were just dealing with 6 hours, 8 hours of working slots. But today you have 24/7, 365 days people are ready to work. That is how most of these outsourcing industries or factories where continuously the production goes on. So it will never stop, right? 365 days, 24/7 people are ready to work. When we are talking about this concept of operations management, students, here we are trying to talk about operations management objectives, which are two. What are the objectives of operations management now? Obtaining the demand, serving the demand. Then operating system structure, that 4 words I said: manufacturing, transportation, supply and service. So objectives are desirable, which you expect, and these 4 are operating system structure are reliable. They should be reliable. Then only you will be able to make a sound decisions of operations management. Who is a manager? We have already learnt. And here, when we are talking about management, students, always we show in the form of a triangle. Why? There is a structure called organizational structure. You know, if you join this 3, it has the shape of a triangle. Pyramidal structure. There is a structure within us called skeletal structure, which is giving this shape. Similarly, there is something called as organizational structure, which is giving this shape. And there are 3 levels of management we talk: top level, middle level and lower level. Henceforth, we call it as strategic level. This we call it as tactical level. This you should call it as operational level. So henceforth, we will not call top, middle and lower now. What is the nature of work each fellow does? Strategic fellow, simply sitting, monthly getting. What he does then? He makes plans, procedures required for your company. What do middle level manager do? They divide, delegate. What do these fellows do? They execute. Good. Skills and all will not talk. This also will not. This is what is more important. Before to that, students, there is one more. Characteristics. Then we'll talk. This I think I have not included. I don't know whether it is there or not. No, it is not there. Make a note of it. Characteristics of modern operating system. This is important for 4 marks. Characteristics of modern operations functions. make a note of it, then we'll write. Manufacturing has become CA. CA means competitive advantage, not chartered accountant. Manufacturing as competitive advantage. Second, service orientation. Third, disappearance of smoke tax. Disappearance of smoke tax. KS. Okay. STACKS. Smoke tax. Last one, small has become beautiful. Okay. What does this mean? Let me tell you. There are 4 characteristics of operation system we talk. First, every company today. Now, okay, first I'll get the answer from you only. How many of you have gone to Koti? All of them. In Koti, what shops do you have? Books as well as clothes. Okay, you would have seen. Is there only one shop? Many shops. As soon as while walking, what this bookshop fellows will do? They'll call you, come to my shop, come to my shop. And each shop, let us assume, have same kind of books, same kind of dress material, right? You may ask that fellow, why should I buy only from you? Isn't it? Then suppose you are from the other side. You own a shop there and I come and ask you, you are calling me, no? Why should I buy only in your shop? Why not in the other fellow's shop? Isn't it? Then you should be able to tell me the advantage what you have over your competitor. The other fellow is your competitor only, right? Today in business, what we do, why do we teach these subjects is, by the end of the class, you should be able to optimize the first word. Second, you should be able to build competitive advantage for your firm. Tomorrow when you join a company, you should make or create certain, this word you should remember, certain differentiation. What is differentiation, students? Differentiation is called as what attribute? Unique attribute. Suppose you say, I give discount. The other fellow also will give discount. You say, I give a better service. He also gives. The differentiation, the difference point should be always unique. The other fellow should not even dream of giving it. I give 95% discount. So other fellows may not be possible, right? So that is your distinctive in it. The advantage what you have over your competitor, we call it as competitive advantage. You may ask a question, sir, what should I make as a part of competitive advantage? Anything. The way you serve the customers, the way you give discount, the way you make a product, the way you explain the product, anything could be a reason for you being unique. And that uniqueness, when I say, should be not copyable, should not be replicable. So what do we do in business management is, our major haunt would be like in exam, how should I write better so that I get good marks? I become a topper. Not all will become topper. How you are becoming a topper? Just by being unique, something different from others also will read, you also will read. But your reading should be better than others. So today, first one of the characteristics of operation management is manufacturing, the way you manufacture the goods. That is where people are becoming very smart. Maybe in my classes to come, remember one more point, cost leadership. Have you heard about it anytime, students? No? Okay. Cost leadership, of course, the name itself suggests you become a leader in cost. It doesn't talk about reducing of cost. It is, for example, let us say this is a pen, okay, which is used to write on the tab. There are many brands of pens which are available in the market, right? Let us assume the minimum cost of making this pencil is an Apple pencil. There could be other brand also. Anyone who makes, let us assume minimum cost is 1000 rupees to make. Let us say minimum manufacturing cost is 1000. But today, like one of the brand, whatever brand you make, minimum cost is let us say 1000. But he owns up a company now because of latest technology, or he innovates something new in this pen and he makes it in 500, less than the cost of minimum production. Then we say cost leadership. He has become a leader in producing in less cost. Then we call it as cost leadership. It's not about reducing cost. It is about mastering, becoming a leader in producing in less cost. So students, that also can lead to manufacturing as a competitive advantage today. Service orientation. Earlier it was all product orientation, production. But today, after buying a product, before buying also, pre-sales, somebody has to tell you what is a product all about. While buying also, there has to be demonstration. After sales also, after sales services we say. Why? Installations, corrections, erections, repairs, all that you will have. So service has become a lifeline today. So service orientation is increasing. Tomorrow, see, you would have heard about GDP. What is GDP, students? Gross? Yeah. What contributes to your GDP, students? What contributes to your GDP? There are three major sectors which contribute, right? In your economics class in territory. But what are the three categories? Manufacturing. Industrial manufacturing is good. Agriculture and service. These are the three main players which give contribution to your GDP. Before independence, our culture was agriculture. Maximum revenue we used to get from agriculture. But slowly, manufacturing, because of seasonal factors, because of good thing like India, they are blessed with population. Population was increasing. People didn't have a consistent income. Factories came up. So next era first era was we used to get a lot of money from agriculture. That was a major contributor. Then became manufacturing sector. But if you see the trend from 1990 onwards, slowly the demand for service sector is increasing. From 2000 year onwards, you see outsourcing. Have you heard about outsourcing? Using of outside resources. When do you outsource and all? Maybe in my subject I'll teach you. The demand for service orientation has increased. Today, more than 56 to 57% of GDP's contribution today comes from services sector. There are three players in the world. America, of course, is number one. India and China always compete for second and third position. Tough competitors. So, service orientation is increasing day by day. Next, disappearance of smokestacks. What does it mean? Hurdles in your production. Earlier it was all manual system. Then you replaced with computerized system. Today even that is outdated. You know what is available now? Automation. You didn't hear about? Maybe in the advanced groups we'll talk about business process automation. Another 5 or 6 years down the line, there was good olden days when people were doing all manually. Thousands and thousands of employees company used to recruit. When computers came, the figure has fallen down to 2 digit. From 4 digit, it has become 2 digit. Because a computer can do 100 fellows job at one go without getting tired, emotional, all that benefits you would have learnt in your classes. And today, the moment you talk about automation, you don't require anyone. So not even single digit, no digit. Tomorrow, if all the business processes becomes automated, already in US you are experiencing it. Every service, my teaching services or maybe your legal services, doctor services, everything will get automated. A simple example I'll tell you. The other day I was reading an article. What if the medical services get automated? I'm not joking, it's serious. Corona at least had stopped it somehow, but otherwise by now you would have seen that trend also. There was an article which talks about automation in your healthcare sector. Already they tried on kidney, and there was another organ also. Kidney and kidney was one. Second thing, not lungs, not liver. Liver and heart, they are working now. Liver, heart, brain, they are working. One more organ. Not intestine kuda kadu. You have read all of them, but not that part. So basic, what they are doing, the article is very interesting. In your production process, you have a conveyor kada. Conveyor is a belt which keeps on moving. So tomorrow, if the business, healthcare services get automated, the patient will sleep on conveyor. First, there will be a robot to cut. It will push to the next stage. There will be a fellow to dissect. Third fellow to stitch. Like products move on conveyor, no? Patients also will move on conveyor now. And let me tell you, business process automation, if they are getting automated, the cost will come down and you will get the best out of the best service. So disappearance of smokestacks means hurdles in your production, bottlenecks. Bottlenecks are unnecessary piling ups and hurdles. They are getting away. And last one, small has become beautiful. Small means manageable unit. That has become more beautiful. Decentralized, not centralized, decentralized has become more beautiful today. So these 4 words will fetch you 4 marks in the exam. Why do we expect it for 4 marks? There are 4 points. So how do they give grading also? Let me tell you. Suppose if I give a question, what are the characteristics of modern operating system? If you just write the side heading, what we do, there's a marking scheme. Out of 4, if you write all 4, straight away you get 1 mark for it. 1 mark for it. 2 side headings, half marks, 4 side headings, 1 mark. Heading you have written and you have explained it in your own style. You get 1 mark for each. So whatever you have understood, side heading should be as it is. Explanation you can explain in your own style. So that is how they frame the marks, right? There was one fellow who has asked for challenge and he got the paper and he was asking, sir, I have written all the 4 points according to my study material, why I didn't get? See, you would have mugged up, but expected is he wants certain explanation out of it, right? So that is where, first thing, of course, I agree, side headings are very, very important. That is the reason you are making a notes now. The explanation, what you have understood the concept is very, very important, right? The last topic in this study note number 1 is, this also will be a long question. What are the recent trends in operations management? Students, I have given more than required here. Why? I'll tell you. It is like throwing 10 stones, at least 1 will hit. So there are all this stuff. If you remember, of course, this is more than, some of them are more than your material also. I've added from different sources. So here also you need not to worry anything. Most of them will be covering again and again in our topic. Every year what I used to do is I used to cover this topic at the last session used to be this, but this time I'll cover it at the beginning only, so that at least you'll have a satisfaction that we have done one study note today. Recent trends in operations management. There are only 2 questions you can expect from first study note. One is the scope, the other is recent trends. For a short question, 4 marks or 3 marks question, or sometime 2 marks question also he may ask for characteristics. If he's asking 2 marks for characteristics, side headings will fetch 1 mark. 2 lines, 3 lines, not more than that. If it is 4 marks question, then you can explain with examples. But otherwise, just normal explanation. So see the marks and configure your preparation. What are the recent trends? When the question is given for recent trends, remember each of which will get 1 mark. You are not expected to write all of them. I'll give all the list. Whatever you can remember, whatever you can retain, and whatever you can reproduce, it is left to you. So first and foremost thing, today you will agree with me that customers are become more quality conscious. They want quality in everything. Products, services, process, the way you do. Quality consciousness has increased. So we'll be talking about some of these concepts in our subject like total quality management, Kaizen initiatives, zero defects and all this. I have written in brackets so that you'll elaborate on it karke. Then the development of technology, IT and automation. Today we use computer aided designing, computer aided manufacturing systems. So you can talk about it. There is one topic in your strategic management also we'll talk. The processes are getting re-engineered. What do you mean by business process re-engineering? It is too early for the next class. Okay. So what is business process re-engineering? Here, the existing process, you are not satisfied. You want something more. Then you have to re-engineer. Engineering is what? Three Idiots movie lo he says. Any act which makes you to do your job easily without any effort. We call it as technology. Engineering technology, right? Engineering is what you are trying to make for the first time. Re-engineering, making changes and incorporating that changes and making again. Re means again. So business process re-engineering. When do you change that business processes? When existing process is becoming more costly. Customers are not satisfied with the existing products. You want, when it becomes outdated or when you want more benefit out of it, then existing process will not help. You need to do re-engineering. So companies are giving more importance to re-engineering today. Optimization from inception till now, everywhere it is optimization. Flexible manufacturing system. Flexibility. If you want more, you should be able to cope up with that. If you want less, also it should be able to match. Flexibility means what? Frequent changes. Lean production and lean manufacturing. Lean means reducing what? Wastages, spoilages, cost, time. So narrowing down, not production, reducing wastages, spoilages, lean productions we say. Green production, this you would have heard about. 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. Eco-friendly products today is one of this. I think every one of you will write. Total quality, zero defects already I have covered, so we can remove this. Just in time, this also is a topic in the classes to come, I'll tell you. As of now, remember the word just in time. Then you have cost leadership, which I talked about. Differentiation, we talked about. Positioning. What do you mean by positioning? Today, every company aspires to have that place in the market or in the minds of a customer. They want themselves to be #1 brand. The fellow who have joined in the class now, if I ask that there is a position called topper in the class or a gold medal in the course, who is interested? Nobody will say no. No, forget about Sai, you can nominate yourself also. You can nominate yourself also, right? You know the speciality of it, somebody who uttered the name of a Sai, I don't know who the Sai is in the class. Ever know? Huh? Who is Sai? Your name only? Right. The person, who says other name will be the person expecting for him only. The only thing is he has a guilt in it, so that's the reason he tells some other name, but given a chance, you can bank on those guys. So positioning, and making some place, either in the market or in the minds of a customer. How can I be the #1 brand? First position, topper. So everyone aspires today for positioning. Everybody wants continuous improvement. And today, globalization. LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. Like these 3 are really paving a good avenues. Good corporate governance, globalization is already covered. Workers' involvement or workers' participation. It's again a technique, maybe, which like most of the Japanese based organizations, they are adapting. They are involving workers also in strategic decision making process. Maybe I'll tell you a case study as and when it comes up. But today, involving workers also in our strategic decisions, we call it as workers participation management or workers involvement in strategic decision making process. Employee involvement also they say, workers involvement also they say. Cycle time reduction. What do you mean by cycle time? Lead time or run time also, any name you can call. This also is a technical term, maybe in our subject to come I'll teach you much. But as of now, what is lead time, run time or cycle time? the time what it takes from starting till the end, sorry, we call it as run time, cycle time, or lead time. So that has to get reduced. And corporate restructuring, today, maybe in strategic management, I'll teach you this concept. Corporate is flooded with mergers and acquisitions. Mergers is what? When two or more companies combine together. Mergers, acquisitions, downsizing. What are these? Companies are becoming big. There are certain companies that are cutting down their products. So the frequent changes calls for restructuring their organizational structure. Corporate restructuring is all about that. If there are any changes, if you are cutting down a business or you are adding one more business, so there is a change in the structure, right? We call it as corporate restructuring. So students, all these terms are not new to you. Somewhere or the other I will be covering, but in the first unit, it is a compilation of all this stuff. So, to be very honest, in this first unit, we don't learn anything great, except the basic definitions of what is OM, characteristics, some technical words. Scope for a long question, blindly you can write without preparation also, right? So, as of now, we can assume that 5% of our marks are in our pocket, right? 5% by default, 5 marks are there in your pocket now, as of now, blindly. Every Tom, Dick, Harry will crack it. Students, let me tell you, study note number 135. These three are all theoretical stuff only. 135. Easily fellows can write. 1, because somewhere I need to start, you need to know about subject cavity. I started. 3 and 5, we'll use them as fillers. When we are doing problems, what we'll do? When we are doing problems or a daily problems, no sir, for a change we'll eat something different. In such case, I'll use 3, 1 and 5, 1. The strategy what we have adapted last 3 years or 4 years was 1 theory, 1 problem, 1 theory, 1 problem, so that you will not even have that monotony, right? So we'll do that, right? So as of now, officially we close this unit 1. What I've done, students, there is some extra information also that is only for your understanding, right? Nowhere it will get reflected in the final exam. As far as the final exam is concerned, let me again repeat. What is management all about? Conversion of your inputs to output. What is business? Elements of business. What are the characteristics of modern operating system? That 4 characteristics. Scope, recent trends in operations management. And if at all, if there's a short question, there can be a short question on, 1 minute. There can be a short question on objectives. What are the objectives of operations management? Obtaining demand, serving demand. And if at all, if you want to remember this, principles of operating system. What is operating system? What are the principles of operating system? And there will be nothing beyond this, students. Blindly you can do. And one more very interesting thing I'll tell you. When we are attempting for exam, like, students ask me, sir, did you prepare the question paper? Because, why the same questions have come. The goodness of this institute is, though I prepare a question paper, they'll not give my question paper completely. There's a speciality. I'll tell you in course of time. So how do we guess? There's nothing great here. What is required? Now the syllabus has changed. This is a third attempt what you will be writing, right? What you do? Pick up those 2 question papers. Whatever they have repeated there, this time it will not come. So in first unit, let us assume the fellow has covered first 2 questions. I said only there are 2 topics which qualify for long, right? So either it could be on scope, either it could be on trends. If he has not covered, you are lucky, you can write, right? You can prepare. Then what I do? I should not deviate, because I should not repeat, I should not deviate. So what questions will qualify? Then what I will do? Characteristics is the next lifeline. Characteristics, let us say I want to give a question for 6 marks. 4 marks plus I'll add one small topic to it and I'll make it 6 marks. So what you should do, In each unit, you should know which topic qualifies for long, which topic qualifies for short. There ends your job. And whatever, if you are able to read the structure, you know what should focus and what you should not focus, you'll be very smart. You know, smartness here talks about that only. You need to be specific, it need to be measurable, it should be attainable, it should be realistic, and it should have the tactfulness. Smartness means that, right? Not about hard work, it is only a smart work which is required here, right? So that I'll take you through. The only thing is your patience. You don't become patient. That's it. Okay, we'll stop here for a while. What's the time now? 10:45. So when are we coming back again? 11? Okay. 11 o'clock we'll start with problems. Okay. You can take a short break. Short is only for 15 minutes, right? Or less than that? 10 minutes? Yeah. We'll start with problems today. Okay. You can take a short break. We'll join again.